Fucking shite, Barry.
Spill the beans.
Yes, good evening. Welcome, fellow sufferers, to another episode of Spilling the Beans, bringing it back down to reality after a dreadful and miserable loss. That's why Dave's back. Dave, you've been away for a while, but we actually won a game and things are getting a little bit hopeful. We brought you back in as we'll need someone to level us out a little bit. How are you doing?
I'm all right, my friend. I'm all right. Apart from everything Barrow AFC related, yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Well, here you are, the support group, as you always like to call it. Ronan, you're back again. Can't keep away at the moment.
Yeah, just here to radiate some positivity amongst like the airwaves of Barrow FC fan base. So anything I can add there will, go far, as you can tell by my overwhelming happiness.
Yeah, and you brought a new guest along with you tonight. Lewis, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Jonny. Looking forward to it.
Cool. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
About 10, I reckon. A bit more excited than I was Saturday.
Yeah. For those who are watching us on YouTube as well, Lewis has took advantage of the generous club shop offer as he try and shift all that merchandise for the end of the season. What was that, £15 job?
£15, yeah. Summer number. Perfect for your party season.
That's good for a rave, actually. Yeah, if that's your thing still. I can remember what they were. Anyway, let's get stuck into it.
That was the week that was. It's over. Let it go.
Right, go on and Dave, seeing as though you're back. Talk to us about last Saturday.
I think it summed us up, kind of how the season's gone. In 90 minutes, it encapsulated all of our weaknesses. There was lots of poor defending. We were fairly toothless going forward. The midfield didn't seem to have much rhythm and much of a clue. It's just really disappointing and deflating. We got a good crowd in. I actually missed the first couple of minutes when we were probably at our strongest because I'd got chatting to someone in the fan zone and not taking my place in the queue in the turnstiles until late. So I actually missed the first couple of minutes where we had we had a couple of chances. It was after the Lord Moyes show, wasn't it? After the absolute frenzy of excitement that the Oldham game was. It was just really disappointing. We were just really flat. As I say, all three goals were soft. They were preventable, weren't they? The first one, there was a bit of a half-assed attempt at an offside trap. Second one, no one's tracking the runner. And a third one, again, no one's being dominant in the box, adding a bit of, some poor goalkeeping across the piece. And going forward, Rose missed that chance in the first half that could have brought it back to 2-1. And it was only right at the end where, well, not right at the end, but, late on when, Kane Hemmings has been miraculously resurrected and he comes off the bench for Joe Van Malken. But again, even that kind of sums us up at the minute that we're just relying on cameos all the time and, people appearing from the sick bay to give us half an hour or, kind of a fleeting glimpse of what they can do. We've got players that are half fit. We've got McDonald who's limping through. We've got Raglan coming on who's obviously not fit. Whitfield's struggling. And I think, as I say, it just sums us up at the minute. We're kind of physically fragile and we're mentally fragile. And, when you're in a relegation battle, words like fragile aren't the sort of words you want to be bandying about. So, again, after everyone's hopes were raised after the Oldham win, it's the usual thing with Barrow, isn't it? We get a good crowd in. The club does a good thing in getting the offers out and trying to get people in, getting behind us. And, yeah, just completely fell flat, didn't it? So, yeah, not great at all.
Yeah, Ronan, going back to the pod last week, we were all obviously just buzzing after Tuesday night and just enjoying that rare moment of joy from this season. And did feel like, I wouldn't say expectation about Saturday, but there was certainly the feel that it was an opportunity. And everyone looking around the league as well, going around, getting a feel from different kind of Twitter, club Twitters and stuff. Everyone's kind of expecting us to do something on Saturday, but the point was also made that we've not done that all season, with the exception of the MK Dons game where we did follow up a really good result against Bromley with that draw on the road. Really, it was always on the cards that would put on a performance like this. But did it even exceed your kind of pessimistic expectations and how poor it was?
Yeah, yeah, it really did. To be honest, we had a fantastic opportunity. You know, every single team in that league will watch us in that, you know, that Tuesday night game, thinking, you know, Barrow pretty much dead and buried, and then we go on and do that heroic moment at Oldham, and then we had another opportunity to basically get them 6 or 4 points before anyone kicked the ball really in the relegation fight, and then lo and behold, we decided to did an almighty capitulation of, you know, some great magnitude. I think I said before, that was sort of like a goal of the season contender, really, isn't it, for them 3 goals? Which one's the shittest one we've conceded this year? We sort of encapsulated it quite nicely in a threefold there. But it's like Dave said, you know, you get the fan base in, you get the folk coming across, and then we go and perform like that. You know, I'm not trying to be overly pessimistic when I say this, but there's not a single redeeming quality outside it, really, is there? Everything was really negative. I've just watched the goals back there when Dave was speaking, because I've not quite mentally tortured myself with that yet. And, you know, they're even more catastrophic than you remember, really. The first one from Will, when I can't describe what he's done to try and get the ball out, and he's parried it right in front of the Albert Adome. And then you've got the second one, which is a double nutmeg, which is even more hilarious, which would be on some Soccer AM highlights or whatever the TikTok generation is for that these days. And then the third one's just miserable as we try and claim an offside trap. It's just, yeah, it just really deflates you from what was a fantastic positive on Tuesday night, and then you've got to go on that absolute shower. You know, on Saturday if everyone kicked the ball, and then, you know, some results did go our way, and then, you know, we'll probably get on to what happened this week as well. But yeah, it's not a great feeling in my household at the minute, I can't lie.
Yeah, Lewis, do you think there's something in that? Like, we had this at the Harrogate game where we do these big promotions and we try and get people through the door. We've done the same this time. Do you think there's anything in kind of overhyping a game, or do you just think it's down to, like, say, simply put before, we just don't follow things up back to back this season, and it was always on the cards?
Yeah, I just don't think we just don't have anything about us in these sort of games, do we, Jonny? It's, you know, we've obviously got a good result Tuesday, Saturday, massive opportunity, and we've just blown it, haven't we? Absolutely blown it. I don't know what it's put it down to. I'm trying to think of times when we've maybe won a big game like that. You know, Bristol Rovers, Harrogate this season. Your mind boggles, doesn't it? But then we did. We went and beat Bromley, didn't we? It's bizarre.
Do you think there's something in the team selection as well, though? Because one thing that stood out to me, I mean, I think Elliot Newby changed the game against Oldham in many ways. As Oldham's legs started to go and he started to really get into the game, he creates, you know, them two chances. I felt like he earned his start on Saturday. We've stuck with that 3 at the back. Again, Josh Gordon wasn't in the team, obviously, because he couldn't play against his parent club. Was there something in this kind of team selection and that 3 at the back, anything there that kind of surprised you about the way Foley and the team approached it?
Yeah, I think Newby, like you said, did deserve his chance maybe to probably play from the start.
He shunted over to the left to accommodate Mahoney going on the right wing. So if you look back at, you know, where he was playing against Oldham and causing the damage, he was on that right hand side, wasn't he? So you've kind of negated one of the things that was in his favour on the Tuesday night. So it's almost as if to say, well, you know, we should be playing to our strengths, not kind of hamstringing ourselves by putting people on the wrong side. But again, it's, you know, if you're trying to get Mahoney on, you stick him on that side, don't you? But yeah, just again, kind of sums up our kind of lack of options rather than anything, you know, greatly tactical that's gone wrong. It's just a case of, oh, well, you know, you've got to make do amend, haven't you?
Yeah. What do you make of Whitfield, Dave? Because he's, for most of the season, been playing this wing-back position, which he obviously just despises. You know, we don't want to track back and we keep getting caught out in that position. And he looks half-cooked all the time. You know, we're not getting anything from a player who's probably one of our most dangerous, you know, outlets and creators of actual opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you say, he's not a wing-back and he's not fit. So realistically, what are we expecting to, expecting him to produce? Yeah, it's one of them. I don't think you can never fault Ben Whitfield in terms of application, in terms of, he obviously wants to do well. And, we talk about sometimes about, did he care and this, that and the other. But, he's gone, he's come back again. He's obviously got some sort, he's obviously got a level of affinity for the club, because I'm sure he'd have had other options, when he was leaving Burton, and he's chosen to come back. So I don't think you can kind of question his heart and his attitude. But yeah, tactically, we've not set up this season to get the best out of him. And yeah, at the minute he's not fit, and you can tell he's not fit. And the opposition will be able to tell that he's not fit, and will be able to, seek to exploit those weaknesses. And I think against Walsall, their lad on the left, was it Okike? He had such pace. I mean, there was a guy on the popular side who was absolutely eviscerating MJ Williams. Bloody hurry up, Williams! Bloody sprint. And I think, you can't just suddenly find 2 yards of pace. That lad was rapid. There was nothing MJ Williams could do about that in a foot race. But again, he just kind of drifted into that nice little gap that we've kind of offered to our opponents all season, and yeah, he just exploited it. And fair play to Walsall. For a team that was supposedly on the beach, well, they had more about them than we did, didn't they? Yeah, it's just a bit shambolic, really.
Yeah, MJ Williams has like Captain Tom pace, doesn't he? He's as good as he can be. He's certainly not the fastest player in the squad. Yeah, go on, Ronan. You had your hand up there.
Yeah, I was just going to make a point on Ben Whitfield. I think this has been a point from his entire sort of, as his third spell now with us. What is his best position? And I don't think this is his fault, but because he's not a wing back, is he? He's not a striker. I mean, and we've not played wingers. The only time we did play wingers, when we played that back four, and we got massively overexposed at the back. See Barnett and bloody Lewis Shipley's attempts to try and defend for 3 goals. So, it's all well and good trying to rush him back and get him in, and obviously he's not fit. He's clearly been jammed up to the nines to play, not as Empic, painkillers and that. It's just, it's balmy, really, because if you looked at our front two on Saturday, you had Fletcher and Rose up top. Neither of them are massively mobile in terms of pace. You've got Rose who's jumping around like a salmon after things that are going into the air, like bloody coming down with snow on it. Fletcher is not exactly, I wouldn't say the best aerially, and I wouldn't even say, he's a good runner. So you've got an opportunity to put Whitfield up front, put some legs in behind, and lo and behold, we don't choose it. But I know I've slightly contradicted myself there, saying he's not a striker, but at the moment, we've not really got much options in terms of direct out and out pace up front. So I'd give that a go if it was me with Ben Whitfield. Just try and do something a bit different.
Yeah, come back to you, Lewis. I mean, Glenn's messaging on Facebook as well. Just talking about the actual way we started, in the first 10 minutes, saying there we looked fairly assured, we moved the ball around well, and then for some reason we just go back to what we do, lumping it long, giving the likes of Aidan Flint, an absolute dream of a game, because he'll do that all day long, just clear efforts like that. Do you make something about the stoppage? And I know Stanway mentioned in his interview as well. Do you think that did change the game a little bit, or we just kind of clutch at straws looking for excuses?
Yeah, I think we're just clutching at straws, really. I think there's, we're talking about a professional League Two football team, players that get paid thousands of pounds a month. I'd hate to think what it is a year. Don't want to think about that. There was no, there's injuries in games when they stop. Yeah, I don't think there was anything in it, but we just went to hoofing the ball to a fella that's played most of his career in the Championship against, Danny Rose. Like Ronan said, he leaps like a salmon, but he likes to fall on the floor and throw his ties out the pram for 5 minutes after it, doesn't he? So, yeah, it was very bizarre.
Yeah, I went from almost singing Danny Rose's praises after that Oldham game, because he obviously got the equaliser, even though he was poor before that, to going back to thinking that at the end of the Newport game he's just going to unravel himself and it's actually Andy Dallas, because I think, and I'll come to you on this as well, Dave, because I know this is a player that comes up a lot across the course of the season. Was Saturday an example of what we miss when we don't have Josh Gordon in the squad, about leading from the front with that type of energy that we missed?
Yeah, I mean that's what you get with Josh Gordon, isn't it? It's energy, it's industry. There is not a cause that he's lost while Josh Gordon's around, because he will, he'll cover every blade of grass for you. He's reasonable in the air for, he's not the tallest, is he? But he's reasonable. I don't think he'd have got any more change out of the likes of Aidan Flint than anyone else did. But yeah, I suppose when you kind of, you talk about being front foot and you're trying to press from the foot, you need someone like Josh Gordon who's got that energy in that industry, who'll buzz around and put defenders under pressure. So yeah, we definitely missed him. Whether he would have taken one of the chances or, created something, we don't know. I mean, obviously he scored against Barnet with that longer range effort, didn't he? But yeah, whether Josh Gordon's the same as the rest of them, can he do it in terms of quality? Can he do it 2 games in a row? We've just really struggled to do that, haven't we, this season all over the pitch?
Yeah, I'll stick with you on this one, Dave, as well, because Anthony Lynch, you might be Tony Lynch, has messaged on YouTube, and this is something I was thinking about on Saturday as well. We're crying out for more midfielders, and Foley's on the bench. Tony's saying there that he's paid to play football, not manage him. Unless his injury is or was career-ending, is it a cause that he's got to play, or is it too late now to sort of see Foley back on the pitch?
Yeah, I think we talked about it when he was coming back from injury, that we could almost do with like 4 Sam Foleys, because we could have done with him in midfield. He did well when he played on the right hand side of the 3. He did all right when he was a wing back. He's got a calm head on him. He's assured. He doesn't tend to waste the ball, does he? He's not. He's not a creator supreme, but he's a sensible footballer. He'll always put a shift in. So if he's being asked to play 3 separate positions, I'm not sure where medical science is with cloning at the minute, but we just need as many Sam Foleys as we can get our hands on. I mean, we're missing Steve tonight on the pod. He sits behind the dugout. I'm not sure how much he's kind of not ranting and raving, but how much of the technical instruction he's putting onto the pitch, or whether it's Coughlin sat there doing it, or whether it's Worrell or Simon Ireland, is it the other one? I don't know what the dynamic is on the bench at the minute. But I suppose is he thinking, well, if I stand at the dugout, then I'm almost like that leader, that totem that everyone can look at and take the pressure off and provide leadership in that way. I don't know what the dynamic is, but it's that long since he's played. Are you going to bring him back for the last 2 games? He talked himself about Whitfield not having the conditioning to play 90 minutes. Well, he's not got it either, has he? It's just yet another one of those things where you just think, you wouldn't choose to do it like this, would you?
I think the only thing I'd add to that is once Raglan got injured and came off and we went out the back 4, I just think moving MJ Williams back into centre half is just such a waste. I think he's so better suited into coming into midfield, and I think what we've proved all season is Harper and McCann can't play together. They've got too many similarities, and I'm not Ricky Harper's biggest fan, but to be fair, he's not been awful recently. Not put any blame at his door at all at the moment. But for me, the biggest easy thing to do would have been just put Foley back into the 3 and make it easier and build around him, protect him, make him essential centre half, keep the 2 young lads aside on either side of him, or Jackson was playing left centre half, and you could just manage him through the game. Niall Canavan's proved, over the last few years, I'm not going to dig him out here, that you don't have to massively, versatile. You don't have to be massively, unbelievably fit and dynamic and athletic. It's probably the easiest position on the pitch to play central centre half, and I think Foley would do that very, very well. And I think that's the one thing that we're missing out, because you would have MJ in front of them alongside a McCann or a Harper, or if you're going to play a midfield 3, not really asked, but you do. You can protect your back 3 a little bit better, and you can give them options and just a bit differently and make us a bit more shored up. I know you lose a little bit creativity, in terms of creativity, not playing the double pivot of Harper and McCann, but you might gain a bit more on legs and tenacity. I'd probably microanalyse that a little bit, but I probably agree with what Tony said there, in terms of getting Foley back at the 11, and I think that's probably the only way you can do it. I know Raglan's back now, but that again begs the question of how fit is he? How fit is any of them? They all run around like they've not had a pre-season, so it's not, we're not looking great at the minute anyway.
Yeah. Oh well, let's go to regular caller Steve on the soccer line, see if he can cheer us up.
07 442, yeah. 39 60 50 is the given means soccer line.
Hi guys, Stephen here. Well, today has shown why we are in the bottom two. We are just nowhere near consistent enough to be in this league. To go from that amazing performance on Tuesday night against Oldham to that performance today is just simply not good enough. And what makes me even more angry is the club rallying round saying, come and support your team, come and support your team. So we fill the ground with over 3,000 people and we get that. That's just not on, is it really? The players really need to have a hard look at themselves in the mirror and actually think whether they actually want to be league players, because at the moment I think they are looking forward to an away day at Woking next season. Yeah, I'm lost for words really. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed. Really don't see how we can pick ourselves up, especially with a game at Cambridge. I really do not want it to go down to a game against Newport at home being the last game, because I just know that the pressure will not do those lads any favours because they cannot cope with it. Today, we could have easily won. And look at the position we would have been in given the fact that Newport and Tranmere lost. So, yeah, I'm not hopeful. I'm really not. But there we go. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, nice one, Steve. Thanks for that. I think he makes a good point there as well. I think one thing that's makes Saturday linger on a little bit is the fact that if we do manage to take this down to the last day, which we'll come to in a little bit when we talk about the Cambridge game and the many scenarios at play here, but if it does come down to that last game, after the Walsall game, no one's really particularly confident in that sense, where had we got something about Walsall and it's still gone down to that last day, you might think, right, well, we did this at Holker Street a couple of weeks ago. We can carry this forward into this game. But no, the thought of, the hype and the big game and a potential playoff final almost just fills people with dread. So, yeah, let's hear from how life is on the other side with a team that's actually pretty good and going for something this season, because we've got Jordan, I think, from Under the Abbey Stand, who called into the answer machine.
Hello. All our Beans operatives are busy kicking it in the Reza right now. Please leave a message after the beep.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan. I am one of the members of the Under the Abbey Stand Cambridge United podcast. A big kudos to anyone listening to this who is travelling all the way down on Saturday. Safe journey. It's a long old way to come, isn't it? I have been asked to give a couple of thoughts to you guys on where Cambridge United are. The first question that I've got in front of me to answer is, how are the vibes? Oh, that's a tricky one. That is not a good one. The vibes and the feelings in the Cambridge fan base should be really positive. We've had a terrific season. We've had a season which is better than most Cambridge fans were anticipating. And we've had a really terrific run from sort of October time through to March time. The last 6 games, though, have been a wobble. And when it looked like we were going to canter off into promotion and off to League One at the first attempt, it is now a little bit daunting, a little bit scary. So yeah, vibes right now are not particularly great. Yeah, the last 6 games, the form is just the one win in those 6 games. Admittedly, that was a very good victory. Absolutely demolished Notts County 4-0. But in those 6 games, we've dropped points where we really shouldn't have dropped them at all. Especially happened again on Tuesday nights. did really well to get back into the game against Grimsby, who Grimsby started really brightly, but we got back in, and second half we were on top, missed the penalty. 1-1 draw would have been a fair enough result, I think, and would have suited both teams, but absolutely gifted a goal to Grimsby in the 94th minute. And not only is the goal really, really bad defending, and a lot of people have got to take some blame for that, it's just another example of another late goal that we've conceded. In the last 6 games, we have conceded in stoppage time 3 times. And as a result, we've dropped 1 point on Tuesday, and then 2 points away to Cheltenham, 2 points at home to Swindon. So that's an extra 5 points that we've dropped because of goals that we've conceded in stoppage time. So yeah, that is a real concern. That's a real worry. The next question is thoughts on Barrow and whether Barrow can get anything on Saturday. I'll be honest, I can't remember too much about when we played Barrow away. I seem to remember it was quite a tight game until quite late on. Can you guys get anything on Saturday? I definitely think it's a possibility. We have had a really good record all season of bouncing back after defeats or bouncing back after poor performances, and I hope that continues on Saturday. But there is a part of me, there's a part of the fan base that worries about the psychology of the team at the moment, how fragile they are, is the mentality there. So yeah, if Barrow can keep it tight, if Barrow could, go into the final stages of the game not behind or only 1 goal behind, then I definitely think there'll be a lot of nerves there. And yeah, it could be another late disappointment for us. I hope that's not the case. I hope we get the 3 points, and I hope we go into the final day with something to play for, a positive something to play for, and getting across the line. Final question. I love this question. Any suggestions on pubs for you visiting fans? The ground is in a bit of a weird part of town. There's not a lot near it. There is a pub that is walking distance called the Corner House, but I wouldn't recommend that at all. I would definitely recommend one of the following: either drinking around the Mill Road area, which is a really lovely Victorian era residential area, which is right near the train station. There's a lot of good pubs near there. The White Swan, for example, will show football. The Kingston is more of a traditional old man boozer, some lovely pints in there. The Earl of Beaconsfield, which is the other side of the train bridge, but just a short walk, that again has good pints, and also is a good walking distance to the away end. So that might be a good one. The other option that I would say, if you've got time on your side, is to head into the city centre itself. If you've not been, it's a really lovely, picturesque city centre, very Harry Potter looking. There's some really nice traditional pubs in there. There's one that I always recommend, which is called the Eagle. It's got loads of great memorabilia in there from the Second World War, but it's also the pub that famously the discovery of DNA was announced in. So yeah, if you've got the time, head into town. You can get a taxi relatively quickly and cheaply from town back to the ground. There's also the number 3 bus, which goes from the city centre to just near the ground as well. So yeah, a couple of options. All the best for the rest of the season. See you soon.
Nice one, Jordan. I was happy just to kick back there, put myself on mute, and listen to him give us a guide to Cambridge. So, yeah, I actually had the pleasure of talking with Jordan before returning the favour for their podcast. As he mentions, Dave, as he talks about their situation at the moment, at time of speaking, Salford are winning at the moment. That does put a lot more pressure on them this weekend to get back. Do you think that makes a difference? Are you looking at it as a factor, or are we just kind of beyond that now?
I'm not sure really. I mean, if going into last Saturday's game, everyone kind of looked at Walsall and thought, they're on the beach. Well, that didn't transpire, did it really? So, League Two teams can be fairly inconsistent. So, if they fancy it on the day, and let's not forget these lads are playing for contracts, they're playing for win bonuses, and a few extra quid in the kids for the summer holidays. I don't know. I mean, your man there's talking about how fragile they are and how many late goals they concede. Crikey, we could write the book on that, couldn't we, this season? So it was funny. I was on Tuesday night, I was at a work function, and there was a guy on the next table who I noticed was kind of looking at his phone under the table, and he was obviously watching or following some sort of football. And I kind of sidled over and said, "Oh, who are you following?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm a Cambridge United fan." So I kind of introduced myself, and we had a bit of League Two chat, and they went on to concede the late goal as he mentioned there, and he was, "Oh, typical, and we're going to throw it away, this, that, and the other." And I thought, I tell you what, mate, if you're looking at that fixture list, there's not many teams you'd rather have coming to your own ground on Saturday than us, because, I mean, as Jordan says there, if we keep it tight for 90 minutes, how often have we done that this season? We've now got, I think, was it the third worst defence in the league? I think at one stage that was almost the thing we could hang our hat on, that we weren't scoring a lot, but we weren't conceding a lot either. And, yes, we went to MK Dons and kept a clean sheet, but we also went to Grimsby and let 5 in. We've let 3 in at Barnet. Walsall have just stuck 3 past us. So, we're capable of going there and getting something, but I wouldn't put any decent amount of money on it, to be honest. I just don't have the confidence in us to do it, because best laid plans and all that, and all of a sudden we'll do like we did on Saturday, and a centre half will forget how offside works and let them through, or we'll be our usual selves in front of goal and we'll spurn some golden chances. So I think if Cambridge applied themselves as they have done for a lot of this season, I think we're in trouble, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, is there any other way of spinning that? Ronan, is there any chance of something freaky happening?
No, really. I can probably just leave it at that if you want. I've not really got much. Nah, I don't know. What do you even say? We're now at the stage of just complete and utter madness. These lads have got to try and somehow become footballers, which they've not managed to do for 44 games of this season. Apologies if I'm not, glass half full, swinging from the ceiling sort of thing. I really don't know. It's so hard to tell. There's a scenario where we could potentially go down. There's a scenario where we could be out the bottom for 2. Who knows? To be honest, I genuinely rather just, why don't we both just roll some dice, and then whoever gets the highest number wins. Like I can't be arsed watching it. Like just fucking end it. I'm so fucking done with it all. I've got no optimism, no positivity at all left in me. I've done the bollocks of pretending that we could do it, the bollocks of we're not doing it. I couldn't give a shit. Just fucking flip a coin and just decide it all. I'm not arsed anymore. That's me done. That's fucking, there we are. My head's gone.
I'll tell you what, Ronan, you're talking about the madness at this stage of the season. And I think that was probably summed up on Tuesday night. Pete Wild won a crucial game in the month of April.
Yeah, you are right.
That's what we're dealing with now.
Oh, I watched it on Tuesday. I made the joke. I was doing some ironing whilst watching it, because I thought if Tranmere do win, I can gently press the iron against my face, and just try and feel something once again, because it's killing me. I don't even know why I did it at one point. I think, why am I watching this? It's bad enough. But for the first half, Cheltenham were as they were against Newport. They were up for it. They were playing good, but then he just didn't come out in that second half. And I still insist that goal by Tranmere was a fluke. I don't think he's tried to lift that over the keeper at all. I think he's just trying to get a foot to it and put it somewhere in the 6-yard box or the penalty spot or something, and ends up lofted in. So, yeah, that was I think that's it, Lewis. It's a combination of Saturday and then Tuesday night, which was it felt like, what if not the final nail, certainly one of the last couple of nails into our coffin.
Yeah, I think Saturday could most definitely be the final nail, gonna, especially when you look at the goal difference as well, which could obviously be a huge factor. Yeah, there's not much hope, but just remember, the time for talk is over, as the lads keep saying. So we'll see on Saturday.
Yeah. So, now Canavan's don't doubt after the Colchester win. That still sticks with me. That, yeah. So that really does bring us to the other games, then, Dave. I think everybody is running their calculations on the fact that we will lose against Cambridge. If anything mad happens, maybe we get a point from that, which could put us in a bit of a situation if Newport do lose at Oldham. Talking about them games, Dave, Newport home to Oldham, Crawley away to Accrington, Tranmere looks like they're safe now. They've got MK Dons at 12:30. That would take us to get 2 wins for the next 2 games, I think, and Harrogate as well, to something along them lines to knock Tranmere out of this again. But how would you see them games, Newport and Crawley away at Accrington?
Honestly, don't know. Because I think all the teams down at the bottom are capable of pulling a result out, but they're also capable of playing like a collection of strangers and getting 3 or 4 put past them. Everyone seems to put together 1 win, maybe 2, but then lose a few, draw a few, all that sort of thing. I mean, I've spent so long kind of looking at the fixture list and the table and trying to make head and tail of it. I've no idea, but it's just one of them things that's so frustrating, isn't it? When we're kind of bumbling around in the bottom third, you're thinking, well, it's in our own hands. If we win enough games, if we collect enough points, doesn't matter what everyone else does because it's in our hands. Now we're relying on, well, actually, they've got to lose and we've got to win. And then, after Saturday, it's fitting for this time of the year, but, we could be needing snookers. So it's just so frustrating. You look back at all these games over the course of the season where, we've done something daft or we've shot ourselves in the foot, Crawley at home, Gillingham at home, Fleetwood away. And there's 3 just off the top of my head where you're thinking, like, how have we managed to conspire to lose these games? I don't know, it's just depressing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and one game we're not talking about there as well, who obviously threw a spanner in the works last Saturday, Ronan, was Harrogate, who just don't seem to die, as we always say. They've got Walsall away, so obviously our opponents from last week, who have a terrible home record. Where do you see them at the moment? Do you think that's going to be the surprise? Then they go to Barnet, I think. Barnet at home, last game of the season.
Yeah, I've compared Harrogate to the cockroaches of League Two. Like, they'll survive, nuclear disaster, won't they? They'll still be there no matter what. Weaver will be there, still with his mate who's the water boy that gives you shit every time you go, and it's just, I don't know. I'm a bit like Dave, really. It could literally go anywhere. We are now at the stage where we're in completely not a silly season. People have looked at us on Tuesday at that Oldham game and think it was done. We've come back and got something. The only minor positive I'm hanging my hat on is that Cambridge's recent form isn't exactly fantastic.
1 win in 5.
Yeah, but then you look at ours, which is the exact same. And we haven't won away from home since Tranmere, which was between Christmas and New Year. So there's nothing that's really filling me with positive in any sort of way. Selfishly, it's my last game of the season on Saturday. I hope if we are to go down, I hope it's done. I'd rather it be done Saturday. And that's not.
Please.
That's just that's just like, when you go and visit like your relatives or like your older relatives or like a mate, and he's got like this dog in the corner that's like pissing itself and it's like dying and it's blind and it's got 3 legs. Like, where'd the dog? Like, someone just needs to take the dog outside and just fucking lever it with a brick really sharp, like right here.
Kick it in the reza.
Yeah, kick it in the reza, and that, just fucking put the dog down. Like, as you can really tell where I am as a headspace here, because there's not an ounce of positivity to go here. Just kill the dog, please, really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't condone that type of thing. We encourage you to be kind to animals.
Yeah, please be kind to animals. People in Morecambe, remember to be kind to your dogs, please. That's all I ask.
Bring it back to kind of real terms, though, Lewis, because the situation is this, for anyone who hasn't, took the effort to run these calculations. If we lose at Cambridge, I think then we rely on both Newport and Crawley to drop points. Newport have Oldham at home, which everyone feels like, from what we've seen against Oldham and them losing again at Salford, that their legs are pretty much gone and they've not really got much left this season. And fair play to them for doing that. They've achieved what they wanted to achieve, and they're not going to kind of go out and put the bodies on the line to win away at Newport. That's the way we feel. Accrington, I think that is a tough challenge for Crawley. Crawley's away record is terrible. So I think there's the opportunity for them to drop points. And then obviously we mentioned Harry against Walsall. So it does take a lot for us to get relegated this weekend. That's been made a little bit more probable by the fact that obviously Tranmere won and took them out with it, because they did have probably one of the toughest games out the lot away at MK Dons. Kind of gun to your head, do you think it happens this weekend, or do you think we go into that last game, with the opportunity to still remain in the Football League?
Yeah, I think it'll go down to the last game, but all but done. That makes sense. All but done. But I don't know. You don't know. We've seen it before. Went to MK Dons, we got a draw. A similar type of performance. Who knows? We couldn't we?
This and also I think speaking to that guy Jordan as well on their podcast, it's going to be nervy there, Dave. Like they sold it out. They were trying to buy tickets in the away end. Yes, we can't see ourselves, and this is not my optimistic spin, by the way. This is trying to draw something out of it that could be anything but a loss for us. Sometimes you don't get into them last stage of the game by defending with your life. Sometimes it just doesn't click for the other team, and for no lack of trying, they just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net. And the longer that type of game goes on, the more and more inevitability it seems like you're not going to do something. And we do have them players, like Josh Gordon, Elliot Newby, who can break, and like we've seen against Oldham, if they're throwing everything at us, then maybe, you never know, there might be a chance for us to do something there. But I can't help but feel that we're relying more on Oldham and Accrington this weekend more than ourselves.
Yeah, it's possible, but not probable. And as you say, we're kind of relying on others to do us a favour. And end of the day, over the course of the season, you've got 46 games to sort yourself out. So going into, I don't know, it's the nature of promotion and relegation scraps at this end of the season where, everyone's banking on other teams and everyone's kind of got their own hypothesis as to what everyone else is doing. And it's really funny watching it on social media. After we beat Oldham, everyone was convinced that's us. Oh, Barrow are scoring goals. They've got spirit. They've got energy. They've got this, that and the other. Tranmere fans were suicidal after that game. They were absolutely convinced they were going down and they were going to go down again and go down. They were going to get relegated so many times. They were going to end up in Scottish football. It was ridiculous. And then they go and pull out that result at Cheltenham. And now it's, we're safe. And, if we get this takeover, and every group of fans seems to be convinced that another club is the one that's going to get out of it because, we're rubbish and they can hold on to this and they can hold on to that. Don't know whether it's, familiarity breeds contempt, but everyone's got a downer on their own team. So yeah, going back to your question, it is absolutely capable that, possible that Cambridge kind of shit the bed and they can't handle the pressure. And, we put in a really stoic performance and, everything goes right and we ride our luck because you're going to have to in games like this. But again, I keep saying it, I just don't have the faith. And, if there's any club officials or club, any of the players are watching this and saying, ye of little faith, prove me wrong, lads. Completely prove me wrong. I would. Nothing will give me greater pleasure than at the end of the season, the players take to social media and say, you know alls that know nothing on your fucking podcast. We knew we were good enough, this, that, and the other. Brilliant. Do it, lads. Absolutely. Do it. Ram the words down my throat. Nothing will give me greater pleasure. But I've been watching you since last August. That's all I'm saying.
I suppose all that leaves then, Dave, is do you like World War II memorabilia?
Do you know what? Being to Cambridge before, he's absolutely right. There's some fantastic pubs in Cambridge. Well, the last time I was there was to watch us get relegated, so that's the vibes of the place. But
keeping it with the theme,
yeah, it was quite funny when I think the Cambridge put the guidance out for away supporters. There's no pubs within 15 minutes of the ground, and you should just go to this Wetherspoons. Why do football clubs lie? Like there is plenty of pubs. There are lots of pubs that are kind of accessible in the from the top end of the town centre out towards the ground. There's a couple on that main road that you can go into and stuff. They've basically said go to this one place because that's where Cambridgeshire Constabulary want you, so you can all be in one place, easy to manage, easy to handle. Just go where you like, Barrow fans. Just ignore official guidance. There's loads of good pubs in Cambridge. Get stuck into them. have a good drink, enjoy yourselves, and then go to the game.
Yeah, you Barra soccer, do what you want.
Absolutely.
Just one last thing there, Ronan, because you mentioned Harrogate and very kindly compared them to being the cockroaches of the English football league system. Is there an inevitability about us going down with them after obviously coming up with them? Are we kind of just tied and bound to them? Is that just how this story was always meant to end?
I hope not. Like, seriously, like, that would be really sad that, we have to go down with Harrogate. Not because I don't want to see Harrogate go down. I mean, I don't really want Harrogate to exist as a football club, really, on anything. I've got a really big disdain for them. And if the field's mutual, so be it. I won't lose any sleep over that. For me, it's really hard to judge because all the sides towards the bottom we've been horrendous against. So you don't know how good they are because we've gifted them points over the course of the season. So it's too hard to judge. I've watched some early kickoffs this season, Harrogate being one of them, thinking they're absolutely spent and they're done. And then look, they've done the same points as us, 1 point, 2 points off being outside the relegation zone. So I really don't know. Whenever I get this sort of overwhelming feeling of negativity, and there is a little bit of sort of like showmanship, which is me trying not to absolutely implode mentally by making really shite jokes, they go out and get a performance. I really don't know where I'm with it at the moment, to be honest. We always blow it at home when it matters. Years, David. We've not watched that for the last 25 years or whatever we are. Sorry, that's proper caught us off guard. Yeah,
Seething.
just burn Harrogate to the ground. And the thing is, I'm now at the stage where any permutation that keeps us in the Football League, we don't deserve it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We don't deserve to be in the league, if we're being really, really honest. We've been absolutely awful for most of the season. We've been really, really poor. But then you can argue when Stevenage got kept up by, I can't remember who it was who went bust, did they deserve it? Now look at them. They're flying. So by the grace of God, somehow I hope we're in the sort of, outside the relegation zone come 5 o'clock next week. If not, I'll be going on the Heathrow, not like a Just Stop Oil person, like an actual crazy madman, and hoping that the biggest thing runs me over before I go to New York, really.
Yeah, I think that's it for me as well. I think even the Harrogate thing, because they've always been pretty much down there all the season, but they kind of showed a little bit. That fight reminds me of the first season we're in the Football League, where we're always kind of looking like going down, but then we managed to kind of get a bit of spirit about us, where we've just been trickling down to the relegation zone since that run, really, from the dizzy heights of 15th or whatever it was. And that's what I think's just been so bleak about it. There's been the odd bit of life and the odd result, but I agree with you, Ron. I'm at peace with it now because I just think, we deserve this. We are an accumulation of our shortcomings, which is making us fall out of the Football League, and we just have to accept that. Go on, Dave, do you want the final word?
No, just to pick up on what you're saying there, I think Harrogate's attitude is always that they're in a dogfight from day one, whereas we kind of had ideas above our station that, when we sacked Wing, it's because, we expected to be doing a lot better. Well, look where that's got us. And we've just been chaotic all season. I mean, five different people have picked a team this season. Normally, if you go over 2, that's a mark of, a kind of a club in disarray. So what does 5 make you look like?
I do still feel my suggestion of giving all the managers 15 minutes each at the end for the last game is the way to go. I think we'll still be paying all of them. So just give them 15 minutes each. And whoever's best out of all them 15 can have the last 15 as well. And that's your reward for the end of the season.
Yeah, get the band back together. Any other business? There's not much now as we close out to the season. I think there's 2 buses going down. I think there's still some seats, isn't there, Dave? If you want to...
Yeah, still some seats left in the second one. And, fair play. I mean, it is a crucial game, so you're always going to get people good in the loins and making that one last effort. So if you've not been put off by our pessimism this evening and you fancy making the trip, there is room on the trust buses, so get yourselves along.
Yeah. You never know, you could witness something really special. That was my version of Steve's rallying call that he wonderfully did after the Oldham game. Right, I mean, we're closing this season out. It's been tough at times to run the podcast and find the words to say as we sometimes just exceed even our own poor performances and put in something like we've seen against Walsall, which really was our opportunity to get our noses in front and potentially be masters of our own destiny when it comes to staying in the Football League. So let's see what next week brings. It brings us down to our last game. Maybe we're still in it. You never know. Dave, Ronan, Lewis, thanks for your time. Safe trip down to Cambridge and enjoy yourself regardless. That's what you do anyway, innit?